Hey guys, it's Lord here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays, and what I have for you today is the McFarlane Toys Spawn Series 9, Manga Spawn Series 1, Manga Spawn. Not Manga Ninja Spawn, not Manga Samurai Spawn, not Manga Mecha Spawn, just good old Manga Spawn, because we had to get around to the main man himself at some point, alright? But before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let's just take a look-see at his accessories, starting off with big-ass anime sword, of course. And, say the very least, big-ass anime swords have been a theme on this channel lately. That's what she said. As you can see, this sword is about as tall as the figure is, so yeah, makes sense for that whole kind of Japanese anime Gundam aesthetic that this Manga Spawn line is going for. Mostly Gundam, I'd say, because there's a lot of like mech robot elements in it. But as you can see, there's a little Spawn logo there. There was one on the back, but that sticker fell off. And I never did replace this sword with a better one, so it is what it is. That said, this is the sword that came with the figure. There is a more detailed sword that came with like a gray variant, which I honestly should have displayed with this one, but it's like crazy warped, so that's why I have this one. It's a little bit warped, but not too bad. Almost like a scimitar blade when you look at it. But other than that, he also comes with a Cyber Sect, which is this little bug fella right here. His legs do articulate, they do move at the base there. All 6 of them move. And then his wings are on ball hinges. Move up and down and they rotate. Be very careful with these when you're plugging them in. You don't want to snap them or anything, but mine are pretty loose fitting in there, so I don't really have to worry about that. That said, the head for this guy, A, it can rotate, but B, you can actually rip it off here. Like so. There's this little peg sticking out there. That's what she said. A lot of that's what she said already. And it winds up being a helmet for good old Manga Spawn here. And if I can get this on without cutting it or anything, I will put it on here. If not, it'll be on during the comparisons. That said, this sword in this backpack thing, because this can also double as a backpack, there is a peg here. I will attach those off camera because they are a little bit of a pain in the butt kiss. So, taking a closer look at Manga Spawn here, not looking anything like the new one, like at all, other than the fact that they're both kind of like armored mecha robot guys. This guy and the new one have very little in common, and no, I do not have that new one yet. I hope to get it soon, but we'll see. I'm not rich, and I don't have unlimited funds for these types of things, so it'll take some time. That said, his head is spring-loaded. Not a swivel or anything in there, but he does have the good old hamburger head thing going on there. The M for Malbolgia on the chest. Kind of looks like he has boobs, the way this sticks out. It's kind of funny. But as far as articulation on this guy goes, his shoulders will rotate. He's got a single joint in the elbow. Swivel at the wrist. His hips will kick forward and back. And he has a single knee. That is it. Basic articulation, but I think that's good enough. A little bit more Novert kill. I don't think it, not as much as the Manga Cyber Violator, which, if you're going to get any figures from this line, I would get this guy and that Cyber Violator. If you just want to have some representation, this is the way to go. There was a 2-pack with this guy and like another Manga Spawn. I don't think it was Manga Dead Spawn. I think it was another one, like a Manga Samurai Spawn maybe. I can't remember offhand what the other one was, but really cool looking figures. I dig this line. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It is really pushing the Gundam anime aesthetic, and there's that peg hole on the back for the backpack piece. I will say though, he does have these plastic chains as opposed to the metal ones. Now the gray version had the metal ones, but this one has plastic ones. And that and this shoulder pad on mine has a tendency to pop off, so I'm going to have my dad glue that on. But nothing some glue won't fix. It's not broken or anything. That said, he did have to glue these little end bits on to the shoulder pads, and these little spike dads in his legs, I think, popped off after a while. But other than that, I didn't really have any major issues with this figure, other than just the glue wearing out. So, getting back to this helmet here, you can see there's a little tab there, and there's a tab there. If you push his head down, you can see there are 2 slots for these tabs. On the side there, and then on the other side there. And sometimes I can actually get this head to sit in here, but that's probably not going to happen today. Mostly because I am doing this on cam. So if I could get this in here, it is very difficult. There we go. There is Manga Spawn with his helmet. And quite frankly, I do prefer him with the helmet. I think it goes along better with the look. And it also allows you to snap the backpack in. But again, I'm going to do that off screen just because that's a little bit trickier. I guess if you want to see him with his sword, this hand's a little bit more open here. It should slide right in. There you go. There he is with his sword for the most part. He doesn't want to hold it there. But you get the idea. It's cool-ass Mecha Spawn, and if you're into this Manga Spawn line like I am, this is a must-have. I really like this figure. One of my favorite vintage Spawn figures, actually. Even though the aesthetic is, well, very subjective, I will say. But with that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is Manga Spawn next to his Spawn Series 1 counterpart, Spawn 1. And just look at how the times have changed, at least around this time anyways. Then we also have Manga Ninja Spawn from the same Manga Spawn series, Manga Spawn Series 1, who, in my opinion, is more of a traditional style Spawn in this manga style as opposed to the actual Manga Spawn here, because again, he looks a heck of a lot more like a Gundam or so than anything, but to each their own, I suppose. And last but certainly not least, we have our 2 regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus, Living Spawn, who's not towering over everyone today because good old Al Simmons here is about neck and neck with his manga slash anime slash Gundam slash whatever you want to call it counterpart. So with that being said, to wrap things up, some final thoughts. Overall, and much like the other figures I've already taken a look at from this Manga Spawn line, this one too is also a guilty pleasure. Yeah, there's really no exception to that rule. I'm just a sucker for these Manga Spawn figures. I like the aesthetic. I'm not the biggest manga and or anime guy in the world, I'll tell you that right now, but when they do something I like, I tend to really like it, and this, again, is no exception to that. That, and he is one of the earliest vintage Spawn figures to ever be a part of my collection, so I'm a little bit attached to this one, more so than the other ones we've taken a look at recently, because I got those much later. This, I do believe, was the first Manga Spawn figure I ever got, and what better way to go down that rabbit hole than with good old Al Simmons as a Gundam himself. So, with that being said, if you're like me and you like crazy shit, this is definitely one to check out. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Throwback Thursdays. If you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. If you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when... Are we going to get a Cyber Violator Megafig, please and thank you? I mean, come on, you got Manga Spawn out right now, but there's no plans for that? I'd say that's a missed opportunity, Todd. You're slipping. Until next time, catch you guys later.